There's just so many things across the world that young people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis that are quite unique to our generation. So when it comes to that, like how do you inject limitless living into this generation?
Wow, also great question. I think a lot of it is awareness. It's being seen. It's platforms like yours that, you know, spread the word on like these the simple hacks. And going back to simplicity, I think a lot of things that our young generation, we tend to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
We think that the basic tools are not going to work. So we go with that most modern technology, pharmacology, medications. We listen to the experts and the doctors, and we just like, I have a feeling sometimes we're all like these little sheep, you know, we don't think critically. We don't think outside the box. And if you're going to just follow what you're being fed, then it's going to be very tricky. And so if you're just following that, how are you going to take your own health and into your own hands, for example? So just the example of like giving a pill rather than introspection, meditation, and breath work. That is something that I think a lot of the young generation just looks for the quick fixes, right? Yeah. Which we all do. Again, our brain's job is to keep us safe and to save energy. So we're going to look for a quick fix. Like we are going to be drawn towards our phones and scrolling. We all do that. Like no one's safe from that. Unless you don't have social media, don't have a phone, you put really big boundaries in place, right? Because it's this cheap dopamine. And so the younger generation often tends to overcomplicate things and completely dismiss the tools that help you and that are very powerful, especially when they're compounded and they're stacked. So even just breathing, shaking. We know that shaking is a form of trauma release. Yeah. It's a somatic exercise. It's extremely powerful. Yet, and animals do it all the time. If you look, dogs shake it off when they're stressed. When you see your dog like shaking it off, you can see it like if you observe animal documentaries, they go into a freeze response and they shake everything out and then they run off. If they've escaped, let's say a lion attack or whatever, you can see it, they do it. And so it's so powerful, yet we don't, so powerful and so simple that we don't do it. Like going back into your body and learning about your body and your physiology, taking a few deep breaths and responding rather than reacting is so powerful. Yet we live on autopilot. We look for the cheap dopamine. We just think we're never good enough. We compare to everybody else. And then that's when you get into a cycle of very low self-esteem, very low self-confidence. You're going to which then triggers, again, more cheap dopamine to feel a bit better about yourself, which is not helping you. Maybe you reach for the vapes or the drugs or the alcohol, which then again lowers it even more. And so going back to basics, understanding that the basics are important. And also, I'll keep on repeating this. It's the fact that like, I think younger generations do still live a lot. They live their life on effect rather than at cause. And that's what I was saying earlier. Living at cause means you have a sense of ownership over your life, over your body, over your choices. You're the only one who's going to wake up in the morning and has to live your life, right? When you wake up in the morning, you have to live your life based on the choices you made. If you make choices based on everyone else around you, comparing your life with everyone else around you, the grass is always greener on the other side. It's going to be very hard for you to feel confident and create a life of your dreams. If you live life at cause and you know that my mind is strong, my mind is powerful, my mind can create my reality, which again is dismissed a lot. If you understand that, I think that's when a lot of things can change.
Yeah, I've really changed my perspective on this because before I was along the lines of, blaming things, blaming others and things like that. Once you really make that switch of taking 100% responsibility over absolutely everything in your life, that's when things started really like slowing down for me, and I sort of separated, things that aren't in my control versus things that are in my control.
Yeah.
But I do get sort of responses of, but what if, this whole room like caves in, for instance, like it's not your fault.
Right.
And the way that I always think about it now is it's not my fault, but it's my responsibility, Yeah. It's like things can happen. Yeah. It's just, it's now my decision on how to react to that thing.
Exactly.
So for instance, like good example, my car was broken into like 2 years ago, right? Mm-hmm, yeah. It's not my fault that it was broken into. However, I could have parked it in a better place. I could have put it like crime as an example, very, very sort of easy to understand, is like obviously it's not my fault. In an ideal world, crime shouldn't exist. It does exist. Therefore, I should have a level of responsibility over, what I'm doing,
Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at it.
I love that. Yeah, I really love that. And you see something that felt really unfair, because it is unfair. And it's important. One thing that shouldn't be forgotten. This is not, I don't want to like promote toxic positivity here. Oh no, everything's good. All is good. Like, no, like be sad about it, cry about it, get angry, allow the emotions to arise. We are not neglecting our emotional world. We are feeling the anger. We are feeling the disappointment. We are feeling the victim moment where it's like, this is not fair. Why is this happening to me? I can't believe this, We allow that to come through, and then we respond rather than react. But if you let that become your reality, if that emotion, an emotion has a lifespan of around 90 seconds. The rest is all the narrative that you tell yourself, the narrative and the meaning that you attach to that emotion. So if you are then going to go another 2 weeks being like, can't believe this happened to me, now I got to spend all that money on, that's then where you allowed the issue to take over your life. And that's where that victimhood it's not helping you at all. Yeah. And that's where literally you've given, basically handed your day-to-day, your lifestyle, your choices, your happiness to that problem. That's where I think it's like important to process it, allow that negativity to come through and out, right? And emotions are energy in motion. They just have to come through and out. Once you're released, it's like, how can I make this something positive for me? Or how can I respond in a way that's aligned with me and that's going to make me stronger, that's going to make me better? How can I shake it off like the animals do? Leave it behind me, move up and onwards.
What would you say is the single biggest sort of hindrance or barrier for young people when it comes to living a limitless life, and how would you say they should navigate that?
I'll say the biggest is a bit tricky because there's so many, and I think it's really hitting us and hitting the young generation from all sides. So it's very hard. But I think that autopilot life is definitely a bit of an issue because we just follow, right? Like I said, like all these sheep just follow. Think outside the box, create a life that's based on who you are. Yeah. And I think that is the most important part here is like when you understand you're living life on autopilot, time is flying by, you don't have a sense of agency over your own choices, the things that you do, the things that you want. Yeah. Then again, you've given your power away and you're just following the masses. And that's when I think gotta wake ourselves up and be like, okay, how do I want my life to look like? What do I want for myself? What are my values? What's important to me? How can I create a life that's aligned to that? And how can I learn to go through discomfort and understand that discomfort is part of it? Because that's another thing. Young generation, we're not that used to discomfort anymore because we like cheap dopamine. We're not going to work hard for our dopamine. And the more we are used to that, the harder it feels to do work and to go for that run and to go into that ice bath or to sit down in meditation and breathe because we're not used to that discomfort. So getting used to getting comfortable, getting uncomfortable to go after your dreams is definitely key as well.
On a more like practical basis, what would you say, like how can people start doing this? So say if they're looking around their lives and they are maybe like blaming others or they're like, oh, the social media is like ruining this and like all this sort of thing. Like how can people actually step back and like practically sort of take more control?
Yeah, I think it starts with like the awareness of what are the things in your life that you're not happy with and where you've given your power away. Where are you in control? Where are you not in control? Oh, I'm not in control of my relationship. I'm with this person. They're not making me happy. But cognitive dissonance, I'll just stay. We've been with this person for so long. Yeah. Or I spend a lot of time with this colleague, but he's draining me every single day. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, start to look, there's wheels of life. We do a lot in coaching, very simple, but at least it shows different areas of your life, right? Relationships, career, fun, all these different areas of your life, health. You look at them and look at like, where are we scoring? Are we doing well? Or are we not doing well? And then take it, category by category. Where can you start cutting off the drainers and adding more gainers in your life that are going to fill up your cup so that you can give out more. So on a practical level, it's really just like let's strip it all back. Let's have a look at your life. Where are the areas of your life where you truly feel things are not aligned with you? And that's where we start working. How can we bring more alignment? And well, I will always bring in breath work into it because I do think that when we talked about, the discomfort part, that's where breath work comes in to deal with the discomfort. So